Greetings to all of you, my dear sisters and brothers and my dear friends. A warm welcome to all of you from your Pastor Yeti. We are in our Thursday, and the Thursdays are actions. God takes his people out of Egyptian bondage, leading them through the Red Sea, through the wilderness, right up to the edge of their promised land. But they retreat in fear, apparently having forgotten just what God is capable of. God takes them through a refining, disciplinary process and gives them another chance. Moses has people renew their covenant vows with God. And they march into the land of the confidence. Not in themselves, but in the God they serve. Moses dies, Joshua takes over. And his first item of business is to lead the people in renewing their covenant again. He wants to make sure they don't forget this time. The people stand and, with one voice, make a promise to love God with everything they have and to pass their faith down to their children. A promise that lasts one generation. Joshua dies, and we read one of the saddest verses in the whole Bible. After that, all generation had been gathered to their fathers. Another generation grew up, who knew neither the Lord nor what he had. The people failed to pass the baton of faith to their children, and it set in motion this depression chain of events we read about in the book of Judges. In some ways, this book should never have been written. If the people had simply done what they promised to do, there would have been no rebellion and no punishment. No crying out to the Lord, no need for deliverance. There would have been no judge, but they needed to keep their promises. So they were, and there it is. And here's the really frustrating part. Every time the people survived their punishment and were delivered by God's appointed judge, they had the opportunity to break the cycle. There was a time of peace that usually followed deliverance. And in that time of peace, they had the chance to teach their children, to help their kids avoid making the same mistakes they made. Do they learn their lesson? No. They do not. If only they'd gone back to the vows of the covenant they had made under Moses and Joshua, but they did not love God properly, and they did not teach their children. Now, we find ourselves living in a post-Christian era. We lament the decay of culture, wondering how things could have gotten so far off track. But with each generation turning, we are giving the same opportunity. We can bemoan the loss of Judean Christian ethics and values, or we can make a commitment to once again love God with everything, our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and pass this commitment down to the next generation. My beautiful people, when Joshua was alive and as the leader of Israel, he did pretty good. They walked according to the law of God. But then suddenly, when he died, in time, it just went away. And here is a very, very deep lesson. As Christians, we have a huge of a responsibility. And it's really a commitment to make, to say that we love God with everything, our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And as parents, brothers and sisters, and grandparents, and dear friends, we have to take the opportunity to live a life in the truth and the love of Christ, that they see that because we have love among each other, that we are children of God. And then generations will rise up again with the knowledge. But we see during all those centuries that it really went wrong. So I ask you not to give up. And in the tiny place you are, or you don't have much to offer, you have the complete life of Jesus Christ to offer in your tiny place. Maybe in thinking you have just one gift, well, use it. If you do all that, God will never look on the perfection of you, but of your interests, of the desire to walk in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. And whatever comes up on your way, whatever it will be, people will see that you are a child of God. And sometimes, they just don't want to hear it. But we know all those stories. I mean, we experience that in our life. But don't give up. Walk by faith, my dear ones, because we walk by the unseen. We walk by faith. And love God. Give that commitment of loving God with everything, with your heart and with your soul and with your strength. And pass this commitment down to your next generation. May God embrace you with His compassion and His deep blessing. And may it much more comes to you than it ever has been. And let Him love you and your loved ones and your brothers and sisters. My dear ones, blessings. And God loves you. This is your Pastor Yeti. Bye.